everybody, welcome into a special edition of Pugs Moran Live. We typically do 2 streams a day, Monday through Friday. Actually, it's just it's the noon stream. We do a high noon stream every Monday through Friday. That's current events. That's current events, trending topics, hot topics, headlines, everything that is happening in the world in that day. We try to quick, boom, boom, boom. We go through them all. We touch on them. Consider it a cheat sheet for you, just so you know a little bit of something about everything that people could possibly be talking about. That's the High Noon Show. That's Monday through Friday at noon Central Standard Time. That's noon Central Standard Time every day, Monday through Friday. Then we double back and we give ourselves a Pillow Talk edition. That's my James Parker. It's more conversational. It's also topic driven. It's also things that are happening in the world. It tends to be a little stupid. Tends to be a little more silly, a little bit ridiculous. Now, you're probably wondering, Pugs, what are you doing here on Saturday nights? Well, we've been doing a series of these special breaking news. Hold on, what is it? And that work is shitty. You should bail out of this. Don't you deserve so? All right, I don't know what it is talking about. I'm gonna have to. Ed is the boss, man. He oversees all of this. He is the technical genius. He is the godfather of podcasting. All right, so answer your phone, Ed, because now I'm gonna call you. You're gonna explain to me what's happening. Do I need to restart the stream? I really don't want to do that. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Byron. Hi, Kim. Hi, Caleb. What are you saying?
You're all. Video is all pixelated and your audio is breaking up.
Is it still?
Yeah.
All right. So what do you where are you? Are you on a runway outside Kyiv? What is going on there?
You see, no, because I'm sitting in my condo and I'm watching you on my tablet.
I just heard like a plane whiz by.
I thought that was on your end.
Oh, it is. Because I've got a live stream going.
Oh, there you go. And now you're just clearing up fine. Looks like something was happening, but now you're clean.
All right, we're good, so we can continue.
You look good.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, there he goes. If the boss ain't satisfied, then you got to at least do your best to make sure that it's working. This is going to be non-traditional. At least as it concerns the way that we typically do these streams. It's gonna be more like last night. Here's the thing. I promise you it ain't gonna be as weird as last night. Last night got weird, man. Yesterday, I did almost 11 hours of streams. I did between the noon show and then what we did, last night. It got weird, man. It got into UFO talk. It got very bizarre. I mean, as soon as the news stopped, as soon as there was a bit of a lull that occurred over in the Ukraine, we got weird in this chat room. So I'm going to, no, I'm not going to promise that we're not going to do that. I'm just going to say that I'm not proud of it. No, I'm not proud of the last hour and a half of the stream last night. Okay, a couple other things that I need to let you know about. No, actually, wait, I'm going to hold on that. This is going to be a very by the seat of our pants kind of show. Got a whole bunch of stuff that's prepared for down moments, but really this is all about everything that's breaking now. Also, you may be wondering, what's going on with the way you're dressed? Well, here in North Texas, it's a little bit chilly. Let me get you the current temperature. Chilly, certainly by North Texas standards. And as you know, I do these streams from the Comfort Nest Guest Lounge high atop the 1%er compound in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. 37 degrees and rainy. And you'll notice from time to time that I may be dressed a little bit warm for what the climate might suggest, although it is 37 degrees. The heating unit in here. The heating unit in this Comfort Nest guest house, I believe it was left over from the construction of a professional sports arena because it is gigantic. And I can only put the heat on for, 10 minutes at a time before the house gets to be 110 degrees. So when I do these streams, I just turn the heat off because it gets sweltering in here. So it's 37 degrees outside. I can kind of adapt to the climate just by wearing a little bit of warmer clothes when we do this and drinking hot coffee. So there you go. That explains the hat and the jacket. The good news on that, folks, is that in the summer here in Texas, when it is 110 degrees outside, I can make ice on the kitchen counter. It gets that cold as well, so that's good. That's good. All right, let's bring you up to speed on all the things that are happening. This was originally planned. I expected that I would go on probably around 8 o'clock tonight. However, there have been some things that have been going on that made me think, why not? We'll just go on a little bit early. It is currently 2:21 a.m. in Kiev. There have been reports all day long that airstrikes were going to begin in Kyiv, and they appear to have began about an hour ago. There is a very, very large. Well, you know what? Let's just pull up the latest, shall we? Here. Let's do the things that we like to do usually. Typically. Let me see here. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so let's show you some of this. This occurred. Now I'm hearing a couple of different. There's also been big headlines concerning the overall story of what's happening in the. But let's pull this up first. Let's watch this.
Large blast.
This is about an hour ago. CNN has been reporting it. I'm also monitoring Sky News. I also have a number of web channels that are up. Oh, you know what? That's what I didn't do. That is what I didn't do. Hold on, folks. I need to make some changes here, okay? I need to do what I did last night, which was put everything except the stream that is carrying the show out. I need to put everything else on the handy dandy hotspot just so we don't pull too much from the stream. That may account for some of the issues that we were having. Okay. By the way, Byron, anyone else too that is going to be monitoring and hanging out in the chat room tonight, let me know if there are any issues with the stream. I mean, I'm sure that Ed will, but I want to make sure. All right, connect to that one. Let's see. Let's get this. Let's change it over, shall we? Okay, we're changed over. Looking good there. Bear with me, folks. I know I was 10 minutes late. I know I posted, I said it was going to be 6:05, but then I had to do a whole bunch of things, and I apologize. I need to make a cup of coffee. Worst cup of coffee on the planet, too, by the way. You'll be interested to know. I used the same coffee grounds that I used this morning. I didn't have time. I was like, it looked like there was still some coffee grounds left that were unused from this morning. So I just made another cup. And now I'm drinking what would be incredibly weak coffee. All right, come on. Sorry, I'm just waiting for a different internet connection to show up so I can connect to that. There we are. There we go. That's good. Ba-ba. See, I probably should have scheduled this for 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. This would have been as smooth as pie, folks. But look at me trying to rush, trying to get on. All right, this is I'm gonna have to reboot the damn TV. I'll tell you, I love the Android TV. I really do. I love the idea that we no longer have to be paying $100, $200, whatever it is, to a cable or a satellite service, and we can still get all of the channels. But it's not as easy. It's not as easy. It's like, you're used to watching, for the bulk of my life, I've been used to watching cable TV, where when you point the remote and you change the channel changes immediately. Now with these things, sometimes it's like hit the button, nothing. Waiting, hit the button again, waiting, and then it moves. And then it moves again because you hit it twice, and then you got to go back, and it doesn't move. So then you hit it again, and it goes back twice, and you're like, shit! It is my hope that when I am old and in the nursing home, they will have that stuff. All those bugs will be worked out, and I'll be able to just lay in my deathbed and watch an Android TV or watch apps with the ease that I've been watching cable and satellite TV for all these years. There we go. Okay, that's all I needed to do. I just needed to reboot the TV. See what I mean? It's like connected. We are connected. We are good. Okay. Oh, now it's doing the thing I just told you. I just told the screen to go. Oh, there it goes. All right. Now I'm going to direct the Android TV screen to go down. Okay, hit it once, go down. Not going down. I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. There it goes. There. See, it took that long to go down. Okay. We'll be ready here in a minute. All right, I want to make sure. I'm just trying to make sure that we're not pulling too much. I'll be right there, Fast Outdoor Food. I'll be right there, I promise. Just trying to make sure that I don't pull too much off the stream that's sending the show out. So I'm dividing it up. My hotspot on my phone is wonderful. I mean, it really comes in handy. But the phone has to be near the thing. If the phone is like more than 5 feet away, it's real sketchy. Luckily, the phone is nestled nicely right in between the two devices, and I don't want to. Okay, let's get out of that. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, we're good. I think. It's not coming up. There we are. Still waiting on the app to load. There it is. Now we go. All right. So the latest thing that I wanted to share with you guys, this happened. This is what compelled me to go on a little bit earlier. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find this now. I saw this reported. Hey, let's give credit where credit is due. CNN had this out first. There's 3 reporters on the ground tonight in Kyiv that I've been able to see. That's Deborah Haynes of Sky News, and CNN has 2, Clarissa Ward and Alex Marquardt. This is an Alex Marquardt report from, I don't know, just about an hour ago now. It'll probably tell us. Here we go. Is that it? It's up. All right. So this is what compelled me to get on a little bit earlier. It does seem like some big things are happening.
We heard a large blast.
Look at that.
And then since then, for the past 7-8 minutes, there has been this pulsing glow in the distance. You have to imagine that it is some kind of fire. It is a little. We heard a large blast.
All right. So you can see that thing out there. Trying to find some more recent. This is from just almost an hour ago, a little bit over an hour ago, whatever it was, 12:52. Okay, so what is it? It's 12:29 is 6. All right, so this is more than an hour ago. All right. That 2 reports that I've heard. I've heard one person say that this major blast that we see in the distance here, this is either in the direction of Hostomel Air Force Base, which the town of Hostomel, Antonov, I think, is the name of the Air Force Base. It's either that area, which is interesting because that's been the area that on the first night of the invasion, Putin tried to take that first. He one of his first targets was to render Borisville International Airport, which is to the southeast of Kiev, was to render that inoperable. That's the commercial airline international airport where you travel into if you were traveling, you or me or anybody else. And then there are 2 other airports, and Antonov is the military base. It's where it has the runways that Boris. It has the runways that Putin wanted to use in order to put his landing craft filled with troops down on the ground and to be able to move in heavy equipment and that kind of thing. He thought that was going to be a cakewalk, but here we are now on night 4, and there is still a big battle raging for possession of the air base in Hostomel. As I said, Borisville, the international airport, that was rendered pretty much inoperable by a barrage of missile strikes. That is to the southeast of the city of Kiev. Hostomel is to the northwest of the city of Kiev. It has changed hands a number of times. It was initially attacked by paratroopers, Russian paratroopers who landed there on the first night and took possession of the Air Force base. And then it was almost immediately retaken by Ukrainian forces. They fought for the next day and a half. It changed hands a couple of more times there. But since Thursday night, no, since Friday morning, it's hard to say because what Thursday night, Friday morning there, but since day 3, since the beginning of day 3, it has been securely in the hands of the Ukrainian Defense Forces. And there was a group, the initial group of paratroopers who were sent in to take it were pinned down in the woods surrounding the airfield. It was a big firefight. It was going on. There was some plans here. I'll show you. We'll bring this up. We'll close this. I'll show you what the plan was. We covered this last night, so if you were watching, it's probably old news for you. But I'll show you what the plan was, and I'll show you where that is. Okay, here you go. Oh, okay. Well, I already got this pulled up and ready. This is the apartment that we saw. If you watched any of the videos from earlier today, this is the apartment building that was struck by a missile last night. This is the building right here. So let's pull up the city of Kyiv. Okay. So here is Kyiv. Where's Kyiv? There it is. Okay. So this is the city of Kyiv right here. This is Borisville Airport, the international airport. This has been, by all accounts, rendered inoperable, hit with multiple missiles on the first night. And then Hostomel is up here. This is Hostomel Air Base. Okay. So this is where a lot of the fighting has been taking place. This is by multiple accounts, and who knows? When people start talking about Putin's state of mind, who do you trust, right? So you just have to read everybody's accounts. You have to take for granted that some people are going to be injecting their own personal agendas into their breakdown of the situation, but the failure to take and secure Antonov Air Base in Hostomel has been a great embarrassment to Putin. Putin thought he was going to be able to get this on night 1, and they have been fighting like crazy for it. I believe when they say the woods around the base is where the initial group of Russian Special Forces paratroopers are held out. I believe this is the area here. The base, as of the last time I checked, was still being held and controlled by Ukrainian Defense Forces. So there was a big fight here. The Special Forces paratroopers for Russia are supposedly pinned down in this area and have been for days now. Now, what they were counting on the Russian advance from the east, which was coming from this area here. Kyiv was a city that they had taken. It was about 200 miles outside of Kyiv. As of 2 nights ago, the advance was moving on Kyiv. Excuse me. The advance was moving on Kyiv, and it was believed that the soldiers moving down from Kyiv towards Kyiv were then going to cross the river. Where did I lose? Hostomel. Here it is. Here's Hostomel. Okay, airbase, pinned down, Special Forces Russians. They were going to be backed up by the advancing Russians coming from this direction. However, apparently big fighting has broken out. Ukrainian Defense Forces, a civilian defense force that has been attributed to the leadership of Vitaly Klitschko, the former heavyweight boxing champion and the mayor of Kyiv. Apparently, he is running a band of Ukrainian citizens and makeshift army guys, and they have been able to stop, by the destruction of bridges in this area, the advance. Maybe it's this. I'm guessing that it would be this bridge right here. This was the bridge that the Russian army was planning on using to come across and then move back into Hostomel, which is again here. and advance in here and attack the airport from this side, which would give the paratrooper special forces guys from Night 1 in here a little bit of help. However, because of the stand that was taken by Vitaly's Rangers, we'll call it that. Why not? We're building myths now as this thing goes night after night. We've got the Ghost of Kiev. We've got the Ukrainian Reaper. We've got all of these new myths, these historic or these heroic Ukrainian fighters. Whether they're real or not, I don't know, but the people of the Ukraine need to believe in something. So Vitaly's Marauders, they were able to, for the last couple of nights, stop the Russian advance over the river by making this bridge here impassable. So that is what's been going on. That has caused, by a few accounts, reporting Vladimir Putin's grave embarrassment over the situation. So when we see that big explosion and we hear that it is coming from the direction of hostile airbase, there are people saying that, well, yeah, he's just done. He doesn't even want that airbase to be operable now. He's moved on to plan B, but now he's just going to flatten it. He is just going to flatten it and move on from the idea of being able to move his troops in there. Again, we do not know that. Fog of war, a lot of stories coming in, a lot of different things that are told. Now, the other thing that we're being told is that explosion is coming from the southwest of the city. So that would be in this area here. There is some oil refineries down here. They're saying that it was an attack on an oil refinery, which may be the case because whatever it is, and we'll go back to it, we'll show it again. We'll show you the clip again. Whatever it is that was blown up there, the glow is burning. It had been pulsing. I haven't seen any real recent pictures of it. But here you can see it again. So it wasn't just like a single explosion and then a cloud of dust and mayhem and chaos everywhere.
Glow in the distance.
Whatever it is,
you have to imagine that it is some kind of fire. It is we heard a large blast.
All right.
And
so
then since then,
maybe I'll get a longer report here. Let me see what else we have. We'd like to find out more about that if we could. That report was forwarded by BNO News, as first reported by CNN. Okay, these are a whole bunch of... Okay, so this is another look of that explosion. Let's close out of that one. Yeah, okay, let's do this one. This is another angle on it. I still don't know. I don't know enough to tell you. See how it's just pulsing and it's glowing? I still don't have enough to tell you about if it's from the oil refinery to the southwest or if it's an attack on the hostile Antonov Air Base to the north central west, I guess. But there it is. I mean, it's been pulsing. Okay, let's see what the latest is on that. These are a couple of different views of the same thing. Oh boy, let me see. What is the latest? Is there anything? You know what? Let me bring you up to speed on here some of the big stories that have been happening today. Oh, actually, wait. Before we do that, let's check in on one of the live cams that we have here. May as well, while I'm doing stuff, we may as well leave a live cam up of Kiev just to see what's happening. All right. So, yeah, the live cams are not going to be all that useful tonight. Is this even a live cam now? That says 2:17:47. It looks like this has stopped. It looks like these live cams have stopped since it's not live. It is no longer live. All right. So let me see if I can find you something else. The city is darkened. The city is the news media reporting there from Kyiv have been told not even to use their cameras, their camera lights or anything like that. They're just trying to, make the city as hard to hit as possible. Let's see if we have any other live cams that are operating right now. Okay, so this one says it's live, but I don't believe it is live. All right, now we got it. Okay, it is live now. Very good. Live cams have been hard to come by tonight. They've been coming on and off all day. Here we go. Now, this one is live. Okay, we're taking a live look now. A couple of different, looks like Kiev are the top two boxes. Totally darkened. The city is in complete blackout, awaiting whatever is to come. Like there've already been multiple explosions. We saw the big one. Still don't know what direction that came in. Down here is Lviv. Bottom left is Lviv. That's another interesting city. They've had their air raid sirens going off all day. Why is that an interesting city? Well, I'll show you. Here's why Lviv is interesting. I'll pull this up. It is believed that it is a safe city, or should be considered a safe city because of its location to the Polish border. Poland is a NATO nation, and there are a number. Here's Lviv. Okay, so here's Lviv right here. Here's the Polish border. This is NATO. NATO over here in Poland. We've had for the last couple of nights pretty consistent patrolling of the Polish border by NATO forces. We don't see those planes in the air. We know that they're in the air, however, because we do see the refueling tankers that have been up in the air forever. And they don't put multiple gas stations up in the sky for refueling if there are no jets to be. So the reason that Lviv had been thought to be safe is because of its location here. It's too close. It's, if something goes awry, something happens. I mean, you accidentally shoot a missile over into Poland, and now suddenly you've attacked a NATO nation. And this brings us to a whole nother level of international incident. Okay, we'll stop sharing that. We should, however, now take a look at what kind of flight tracking we have in that area. Let's see here. And again, I'll try to address comments in the chat room as we go, but let me just get established here. All right, so we've been watching Flight Radar the last couple of nights here. I'm just completely obsessed with Flight Radar. I'm completely obsessed with trying to track where. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we see the Ukraine, and we see the Belarus, Russia. We see there's no planes. There's nothing there. There you go. There's no planes in this area. This Ukraine is an international no-fly zone right now. Down here in the Black Sea, this is Crimea. This is Sevastopol. This is the big base for the Russian Black Sea Fleet. The Russians have naval ships in this area here. This is the Sea of Azov. Bring that up a little bit more. This is the Sea of Azov. It's off the coast of what they call the Donbas, which is the reason for his supposed reason for his initial invasion. But as we now know, the invasion was much larger than just this little sliver. The cities of Luhansk, Donetsk, and Mariupol were supposed to be the places he was targeting, but he seems really concentrated on the national capital of Kyiv. What a surprise, right? Turns out that Putin is a liar. Okay, so let's look at some of the air. You can see all the commercial air traffic. They're all pretty much flying in a line. Anything that's flying one behind the other is going to be commercial air traffic. That's just, people going on vacation and doing whatever they're doing. Down here in the Sochi area, this is another large Russian military base. Okay, this is a Russian military base. This guy right here is probably Fort. Yeah, it is. This is Fort 11. He's United States Air Force. He's been out here. Look at what he's doing. He's been doing this for days now. He is out here in the Black Sea. He is letting the Russian Navy know that we're here. We're watching you. Go ahead. We've got our transponders on. We're not hiding. Take a shot at us if you dare. And that's what they're doing. You can see the pattern that he's been flying. He's just been out there doing circles. It's interesting now that he seems to be concentrating over on the Russian military bases in Sochi, because in the beginning, he was really mostly focused just on Sevastopol, which, as I said, is the base for the Russian Black Sea Fleet. They're right here, right? We'll go into this area and show you exactly where the major naval base is. Here we go. Let's get it here. Okay, this inlet right here. This is where Russia has all of their aircraft carriers. It's the base of the Russian Navy, essentially. The Black Sea Fleet is one of the largest military forces that the Russians have, and they're based down there. And the United States Air Force has been wreaking havoc on them as far as irritating them. Very provocative. It would say, I don't know. I guess to me, I'm no military expert, but to me, it seems like when you've got your transponder on, you're telling the world that we're here, we're not afraid of you, and we're watching everything that you're doing. So let's take a look at what everybody is looking at. Let's see the other planes that are being watched in the area. So that's Fort. Fort was down here. He's number 5. See him? There he is. Okay, so there's Fort. We saw him. Who's number 1? Who is number 1 on the hot list? That would be this one. This is one of the refueling tankers. United States Air Force Strato tanker. See the one over Romania or Poland? Okay, he's the one in Poland. Okay. Yeah, this is no change from last night. This guy's been up here for a while. You can see he's just doing donuts on the sky. He's letting all of the jets and the NATO planes and whatever know that if you need gas, I'm right here. His location tells us, and other context clues, that we've probably got some planes patrolling the border here. And again, this is the border. This is the border between Poland and Belarus right here. And this is the border between Poland and Ukraine here. Here's Lviv. This is the city we were talking about. So there are NATO planes flying here. I mean, we don't know it for a fact, but we must assume that they don't just put up these Strato tankers for no reason. You're not going to put the plane up in the air and then not have planes that need gas. Seems like a big waste. So that's why Lviv going dark and having all these air raid sirens is concerning and something that we should be watching and paying attention to. All right, so this is the Strato tanker, United States Air Force gas station. He's based out of where? Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. Let's see, you can see where he came from. There it is. Okay, so he came from Ramstein base in Germany, and he's just been out here flying, going crazy. Hey, guys, who needs gas? Get some cigarettes. Probably got a shower, right? Like truckers. No, I'm kidding. All right, so that's him. Why is this the number 2 watched plane? I don't know what this is. This does not appear to be a military plane. It's not. Okay, this is a commercial airliner. Commercial airliner. Why is this of any interest? Well, I guess because it's flying fairly close. Are there any other planes that are flying that path? Let's see. That could explain why people are watching it. If it doesn't break hard right, it's about to enter Ukrainian airspace, which, could be a problem because if I may direct your attention back to July of 2014, a Malaysian plane during the Crimean version of the Russian-Ukrainian war, back in 2014 in July, a Malaysian plane drifted into Ukrainian airspace and was shot down. That's really the reason why they're taking such a wide spread. They normally, if there was something going on in Ukraine, the commercial airline industry would be like, let's just avoid the area and we fly the path along the border. We won't go in, but we'll fly close because gas is expensive and we like to keep prices down. No. I mean, they learned their lesson in 2014 when the Malaysian airplane got shot down. Look at how far they are. They're coming nowhere near it, which is, I imagine, he's turning now. Okay, so he's banking hard right. Somebody told him, hey, dude, you're about to enter Ukrainian airspace, so you better turn hard right. Yeah, I imagine this guy's probably going to continue on this way through. Let's hope so anyway, because we don't need any problem. All right, that's why now he's dropped down to number 3. See, as soon as he turned right, people were like, okay, he's turning. All right, he's not going to venture in. So now let's see what number 2 is. This is another one. This is another U.S. Air Force. Is this this is an extender. This is another version of the Strato tanker. This is just another make. This is the McDonnell Douglas version of the Boeing gas station in the sky. This is the McDonnell Douglas gas station in the sky. And he's over Romania. Okay. So he's here. The other one is here, right? This is the one gas station. This is helping all of the planes that are refueling or that are patrolling the border between Belarus and Ukraine through Poland. That's what this guy is working on or helping out. And then this guy is down here. So this tells us that we've got people, we've got planes that are flying the border, patrolling the border from the very tip of the Black Sea all the way up into, how high could they go? I would imagine all the way up to the Polish border. Okay, and this guy's doing the exact same thing. He's just making his, he's doing donuts in the sky. It's another gas station. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. We've already seen this guy Wizz Air. Duke 48. Duke 48 is a, what is Duke 48? I thought Duke was a helicopter. It is. All right, there it is. Duke is a Sikorsky United States Army helicopter. He's in the air. Is this Poland still? He's in the air. I don't know what it's a helicopter. God love him, but I'm more interested in attack jets and all that. Let's see what's he doing in there. Let's see what his path is. Well, he's hovering because that's what helicopters can do. Okay, so we got that. So what we've got is we've got a gas station number 1. We've got another gas station number 2. We've got a Wizz Air flight, commercial airline flight that was getting oddly close to the border of Ukraine, but he seems to have made a right turn and he's heading towards the Black Sea. We've got Duke, which is a helicopter, and then we've already seen Fort, which is Fort is our United States Air Force guy up here in the Black Sea, who's just letting himself be known to the Russian military bases in the Black Sea. Where is Fort? Where's Fort now? Okay, there he is. All right, so folks, that's just a long way around to tell you that there is no real changes in what we're seeing in the air. That is, this is essentially the same makeup that we've seen for the last couple of nights. All right, so let's get out of that. Okay. Let's see here. Let me jump in. Let me talk to some of the folks here. By the way, this is a share and share alike kind of situation because I'm balancing a number of different things that I'm watching while still trying to do a stream and explain everything that I'm seeing. I require or would request that you guys could help out in any way that you can. If you're seeing something that I'm not seeing and you're in the chat room, man, post it up. Let me know because, as I said, this is a little bit different than the 2 streams that I do Monday through Friday, the high noon stream and then the Pillow Talk stream at 9 o'clock. This is different in that I'm not really doing a prepared show. I'm just reacting to what it is that we're all seeing in real time. So if you got something, let me see it. And I might call bullshit, because you might be full of BS, but hey, whatever. We'll find that out. Yeah. Okay. Mr. King 72 is talking about the North Korean missile. That was a story that, I'll pull that up real quick here. That was a story that came out about an hour ago. Apparently North Korea has launched a missile into the Sea of Japan today. At least that's what I saw. Let me see what the latest is. Let's hope it's not in Japan. I mean, they do that. They do that regularly. It's an interesting and definitely, well, it's interesting that they would choose to do it now. You would think that a cooler head might say, the world is on edge. Maybe we should not be launching our test missiles into the sea today. Seoul, South Korea, North Korea on Sunday launched a suspected ballistic missile into the sea. South Korean and Japanese officials have confirmed. In the North, apparent 8th round of weapons tests so far this year. So they've done it 8 times, and it's like 1 a week, really. I mean, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the launch had happened without providing further details. Japan's defense ministry also said North Korea launched a possible ballistic missile. A maritime safety warning from Japan's Coast Guard said an object, possibly ballistic missile, was launched from North Korea and that it could probably have landed in the sea. Vessels in the area were warned to stay away from objects that may have fallen from the air and to report them to authorities. Hey, folks, don't get hit by any missiles. How do you do that? Oh, okay. All right. That was the plan when we left port, but North Korea later halted test. North Korea last month conducted 7 rounds of missile tests in what some experts called an attempt to perfect its weapons technology and pressure the Biden administration to make concessions such as relief from economic sanctions. North Korea later halted testing activity after the start of the Winter Olympics in China, which is its last major ally and economic pipeline. Some experts had predicted North Korea would resume tests and possibly launch bigger weapons after the Olympics. That's an interesting sentence there. The one that says North Korea later halted testing activity after the start of the Winter Olympics in China, which is its last major ally and economic pipeline. When North Korea or when China is mentioned as an ally of North Korea, it's kind of like, again, I'll use these very simplistic and reductive analogies, but it's kind of like if have you ever had a friend that you liked, but like nobody else liked, and you don't even really like him, but you grew up with him, and he's lived across the street, and you're in high school now, and you want to hang out with the cool kids, but you still got this dude who you feel bad about not. That's kind of China and North Korea's relationship. Everybody hates North Korea. Nobody wants North Korea showing up to the party, but China's like, his mom used to drive me to baseball practice, guys. I mean, I'm going to stay kind of friendly with him. There is no true love between. China would like nothing more than just absorb North Korea just to take it. But, because North Korea for China acts as a buffer between China and South Korea, which is, a Western friendly nation, they put up with it. They put up with the autonomy and the idiocy that happens in North Korea. So that's why I thought that's interesting when it says that North Korea halted activity for the Olympics for China because it's their last major ally and economic pipeline. MR King says North Korea seeks attention. They feel ignored. Yeah, they are ignored. That's the whole point of the world sanctions against them. They're like the kid. They're the kid you don't want at the party. They're the kid that can't act up. They're the kid that don't know how to behave. When I was in high school, I'll make another ham-fisted analogy. When I was in high school, I went to a public high school, but we had a bunch of Catholic high schools that were around us, and occasionally you would go to a public high school party. One that had girls, and the Catholic high schools at the time didn't have girls. And Catholic high school guys just didn't know how to act around girls. They didn't. They were idiots. So that's kind of what North Korea is. North Korea is like the kid who went to the Catholic high school and he's going to the public high school party, and suddenly he's seeing all of these girls, and the public high school boys know how to hang out with them because they see him in the hallways every day in school, and they sit next to him in class. And the North Korean Catholic school boys are like, just idiots. They're just doing stupid things. Oh, analogies. I'm full of them, folks. Fast Outdoor Food tells us that the Dutch are sending 200 Stinger missiles ASAP to Ukraine. Yeah, they're not the only ones. The Germans made a big announcement earlier today. The Germans, of the big military groups in NATO, the ones that really have all the coolest toys, United States, Canada, the UK, and Germany. Germany was the only one of the group, the NATO member nations, who have the ability to really help with military force. They had not until today sent any kind of aid in the form of bombs, missiles, guns, weapon systems, that kind of thing. Germany did not want. They were sending aid, they were sending humanitarian aid, they were sending money, they were sending intelligence, that kind of thing. But as far as missiles, guns, bombs, things that go boom, all of that stuff, Germany hadn't been a part of that. They're like, yeah, we don't want to do that. They changed their mind today. So Germany today sent a whole bunch of, let's find out what Germany has pledged to send. Okay, Germany. I bet if I just put Germany in, I bet that's all that I'm going to need to put in. It'll probably be the big story. They sent some significant military aid today. Germany abandons muted approach to aid for Ukraine, sending weapons and contemplating much larger sanctions against their neighbor. Let's see what they're sending them. I loved what Zelensky, president of Ukraine, said yesterday when asked why he's not leaving the country or why he didn't accept the United States' help in getting out of the country. Again, I'm going to butcher his quote because it was so cool. It was something to the effect of, the fight is here. I'm not leaving here. I need ammunitions. I don't need a ride. How cool is this guy? How cool is that guy? Again, as I said last night, if by any way, shape, or form there is still remaining some kind of democracy in Ukraine after all of this, how does that guy ever lose an election? How does anybody ever run against Zelensky? I mean, he's a hero. They're probably already sculpting statues to this guy. Germany on Saturday took significant steps towards shedding its post-World War II caution about being a significant global security player, announcing that it would deliver extensive lethal weaponry to the Ukraine and embracing broad restrictions on Russian banks that had previously rebuffed. That's another big piece of news that came out of today. The chairperson of the European Union gave a speech about 3 hours ago where bigger sanctions. The sanctions that were agreed upon a couple of days ago were big. And then the next day, the day after those sanctions were announced, then the United States and some of the larger economic powers that make up the NATO nations, they upped it just a little bit, and they went after Putin personally. The sanctions initially were against Russian banking and Russian, basically things that were designed to create havoc within the stability of the Russian economy. Then the next day they went after Putin personally. They went after his banking. They went after his interests. They went after his friends, his oligarchs, all of that. And then today, so even after those two, the criticism was that Russia was still able to participate in the world economy through something known as SWIFT. I'm no economist, but from what I've learned over the last couple of days, SWIFT is an international, global banking partnership that allows banks to be able to trade and send money and instantly liquefy assets for other nations in out of the country. It's connective. Here, I actually wrote down a little bit of a note so that I don't look like an idiot. Good chance with that. You're gonna look like an idiot no matter what. Yeah, I know. But anyway, today the European Union, they enacted this SWIFT ban on the major banks of Russia, which is the one thing that people who are like, well, the sanctions are fine, but the sanctions don't go far enough. Well, now they go basically as far as they possibly can. Let me pull this up. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm watching some new video. That is, it's not new. Okay, so that's from earlier. All right, maybe we'll find that. And we'll pull it up. So there was a lot of movement today as far as the nations of the world ratcheting up the pressure even more. I just, I don't know. I worry because I'm unabashedly team Ukraine, as I think most of the world is. The EU and the US announced that Russian banks will be removed from the SWIFT global interbank system. This act will severely affect all Russian imports and exports, as well as make it impossible for the Russian central bank to liquidate assets. So, like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't know. I don't have any money. I don't know how that's why I do this show for tips. If you're so inclined and want to help out in that regard, you can always do that at the bottom of the screen. But this was removing Russia from the SWIFT global interbank system was something that the critics of the initial few rounds of sanctions were screaming for. And now they have it. So that has now happened. Also happening right now, this is another thing that's got to be pretty embarrassing. Anonymous, our old friends from Anonymous, the hacking collective, who, I don't know, they mess with people. They make life hard. Putin can't get his email now. That's I'll simplify it by that. Anonymous has been conducting widespread attacks against the Russian internets, the Kremlin's websites. Earlier today, they took down momentarily a number of Russian media entities. So if you were watching TV or trying to get the news in Russia, it went down. And then when it came back up, what you saw in Russia were just the playing of the Ukrainian national anthem on a loop and footage of Russian soldiers in the Ukraine dead, burned, being held as prisoners of war. So basically, they went after the Russian media. Anonymous did. They went after the Russian media in Russia that has been essentially just filling the Russian people's heads with bullshit propaganda. And what is some of that propaganda? Well, Russian propaganda to the people in Russia, the citizens of Russia, have been spoon-fed one after another stories of how the Ukrainians are Nazis. The Ukrainians are run by a Nazi government. They've been committing genocide against the people of the Donbas region, which many of them are Russian passport holders, Russian citizens who now live in Ukraine. None of this is true. None of this is backed up by any kind of reporting or we've not seen video. We've not seen anything to back this up. The only people saying this is Putin, designed to keep the Russian people on his side as he perpetrates what is quickly becoming a modern-day war crime, the invasion of a sovereign nation for no reason, not being provoked, nothing like that. So Anonymous basically took down the propaganda chains. They were put back up, and then like an hour ago, it was starting to be reported that they were back at it. So whatever you think of the folks from Anonymous, they seem to be on the side of the angels, at least in this situation. Oh, really? Okay. Now I'm seeing a report that French President Macron has asked Belarus to order all Russian troops to leave. He denounced the gravity of a decision that would. Okay, so basically, Belarus ain't going to do that. And, I'm getting tired of hearing about Macron. He's not in power anymore. He's trying to stay relevant. He was the guy that last week got a lot of global praise for brokering the peace talks between Biden and Putin. He talked to Putin. Putin told him, "Yeah, I'll hold off the invasion, and I'll meet in principle." And then he talked to Biden, and Biden was like, "Yeah, if he wants to meet, we'll meet in principle." Well, that never materialized. That was, so for a day, everybody was like, "Oh, look at Macron, the peace man." Oh, shut up, Macron. Just go away, Macron. You're just causing. Now he's demanding. Now he's a private. What does he do? He's a private citizen, right? He's no longer holding any power in France. "I demand that Belarus expel all Russian troops." Shut up. Go away. You have no power. Are you kidding me? Belarus, they've been training with the Russians now for weeks. Belarusian troops, and I don't even know if that's how you say it. I don't know. It's Belarusian troops, Belaruski troops. I have no idea. But it was Belarusian troops who also went in over the northern border of Ukraine on night one with the Russian troops. So they're involved. We've also got story of the Chechens. We'll get involved with that. Apparently, there are Chechen death squads who have been sent to the Ukraine to seek out military leaders of the Ukrainian Defense Forces and President Zelensky and bring Putin their heads. Amy says, I hear about anonymous attacks from time to time, but it's hard to tell sometimes if the attacks have a real impact. I hope it does. Well, these attacks, there are a number of people who were sharing screenshots from Russian TVs on social media that definitely back up the claims that they were putting up. Images of Russian soldiers dead and images of Russian soldiers being arrested. And we saw a clip last night. If you were with us on the stream last night, we saw a really interesting clip of a truly unique and creative way to humiliate Russian prisoners of war who are taken captive by Ukrainian soldiers. We saw one Russian soldier forced to call his mom in Russia and tell her that he was under arrest because he was part of an occupying force. He's a bad boy. That was it's not torture. They're not torturing them. Although that's as I said last night, that's a special kind of torture. That's a truly different brand of torture. David says, Anon is basically everybody's best friend and worst nightmare, says Davis Fisher. Yeah, ain't that the truth, man? Ain't that the truth? It's fine when they're fucking with somebody else. I just don't want them coming after me. Fast Outdoor Food says Poland and Sweden will not play Russia in the World Cup playoff qualifiers match. Yeah, that's another thing here. I've got a couple of notes on that. The world sports organizations are coming out now and basically saying, here, let me see if I can find this. Basically saying that, and this is a way to get to the heart of the everyday Russian citizen. It had been, always believed that sports, we put down our weapons and we compete on the field of play. We're not political. Well, that's starting to change. World tennis has also announced that they will look into banning all Russian Federation tennis players from competing in World Tennis Organization events. The Premier League today, and in games going on now, I guess, or today is Sunday. The Premier League of football there in the UK, they have lifted a ban on players making political statements during games, and also allowed for the first time fans in the stands to openly protest for political causes. Now, I think they're only talking about one specific political cause. I mean, I think that if a bunch of fans show up with Nazi banners and stuff, they might change it. But the reason for this is that there are a number of Ukrainian players who participate in the Premier League, and they want to show their support. And there's video out there of games that were played today. Some really nice, everybody in the stands. We're talking about tens of thousands of people showing up to a big Premier League game, and everybody had the colors of the Ukraine on, and there was one player on one team they were wearing a white jersey, who in some kind of a marker or something had written the number of another player inside a heart. Like he drew a heart on his jersey and then drew the number of a Ukrainian player who he was playing against. The nice things, nice thoughts. And then there was another team who, after they won, they all got together in the center of the field and they held up a support Ukraine sign. So, that's happening in the Premier League. As you mentioned, Poland and Sweden have announced that they will not play Russia in any tournaments, World Cup or otherwise, which is big because you know how much Europe loves their soccer. Football. You know how much they love that. So imagine. The other big thing was yesterday, Eurovision, which is like the most watched show in all of Europe. It's a music competition, kind of like American Idol, except it predates American Idol. Eurovision is every country writes a new song, like a pop song or whatever, and then they compete on this television show to have the best song. And Russia was told this year that you're not allowed. We don't want any of your stupid songs this year. And that was a big deal. I know it's not a big deal to us because we don't really understand that, but that's a massively popular television show. That is a huge show. It's like their Super Bowl, the Eurovision Song Contest. It's been going on for like 50 years in Europe. Russia may be banned from World Cup competition. That is under consideration. And also the Sochi Grand Prix. The Sochi, the Grand Prix, the governing body of Formula One race car driving, they've announced the cancellation of the Sochi Grand Prix in solidarity with the people of the Ukraine. Sochi's in southern Russia. That's where when we were looking at the flight path of the U.S. Air Force Fort 11, and I said that they've extended their area of observance to the military bases that are located in and around Sochi. That's where that is. There's a big Grand Prix race there every summer, and they've said, nope, we're not doing that. One of the other things that is really concerning to people today, the big news that came out. I'm sorry. I'm gonna jump off. Not jump off the stream, but I'm gonna jump off what I'm doing here if something obviously happens. Some sort of new major event in and around Kyiv. Kharkiv, by the way, Kharkiv, which was the city that was first attacked on night one. It's the city that's closest to the border of Ukraine and Russia in the north. Kharkiv is just, they are taking a pounding, boy. Those people, they're going to write songs about those people. Those people are just fighting with everything they have. One of the big scary developments coming out of the Russian side of things today was that Russia is now deploying the TOS-1 weapons system. Now, I didn't know what the TOS was. That's specific to the Russian military. But here, these are the you've heard of these thermobaric weapons, right? These are the scary. You've got nukes, of course, and then right under nukes, you've got thermobaric weapons. Thermobaric weapons are scary as shit. What they are is they're called. They're referred to as like ultra modern flamethrowers, right? Like, so we all know what the flamethrower is. We had those army men when we were little, right? And it's the gas, it's the tank on the back, and it throws out a flame. Okay, that doesn't do what a thermobaric weapon actually does any justice. That's if the guy with the gas tank on his back spraying the flame is what they used in World War II, you can only imagine what technology has done to improve. Is that the word? That means of fight. Here, let's pull these up. Let me see what we got. I'll show you. I'm going to show you what these thermobaric weapons do. Russian army deploys its TOS-1 heavy flamethrower capable of vaporizing human bodies near the Ukraine border. Let's see. These things are bad news, guys. Come on now. There we go. I'm kind of enjoying the world's worst coffee right now. We're going to get into these thermobaric things. These are scary, and they haven't been used until this point. And this is another indication that Putin is feeling a little frustrated, maybe a little humiliated. He's looking to step it up a notch. Russian army deploys its TOS-1 heavy flamethrower capable of vaporizing human bodies near the Ukrainian border, footage shows. The video shared on Twitter by CNN correspondent Frederick Pleitgen. Frederick Pleitgen's a dude, man. That guy is in the middle of it. He ain't one of these bullshit fake news political journalists. This guy's a real journalist. This is a wartime journalist. The video shared on CNN or Twitter by CNN correspondent Frederick Pleitgen display. I should also give credit to people like Matthew Chance, Clarissa Ward, Deborah Haynes of Sky News. I mean, there's a number of these people who are they're in the thick of it, wearing their helmets, reporting live, trying to get the story out to the world, taking cover when the incoming comes. Again, this isn't some pretty girl standing in front of the White House talking shit about whatever political party is in power. This is a different cut of journalist. The video shared on Twitter by CNN correspondent Frederick Pleiken displays a TOS-1 heavy flamethrower, which can shoot thermobaric rockets mounted on a T-72 tank chassis. The footage was captured south of Belgorod. Now, this is why we're worried about the people in Kharkiv, because Belgorod is only about 25 miles from Kharkiv. Kharkiv is on one side of the border and Belgorod is on the other. The footage was captured south of Belgorod, Pleiken said, which is about 45 miles. There you go. So what did I say? 25? Okay. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm learning as the days go on, which is about 45 miles away from Kharkiv, Ukraine. The TOS-1 was first used during the Soviet war in Afghanistan, The Guardian says, and was also deployed in Chechnya and the Syrian civil war. It can launch two types of warheads, incendiary and fuel air explosives. The latter, also called a vacuum or thermobaric rocket, work by using oxygen from the surrounding air to generate a high-temperature explosion. The weapon system is extremely effective against entrenched personnel. The TOS-1A is used to clear out buildings, field fortifications, and bunkers. They are considerably more destructive than conventional explosives. Thermobaric weapons can vaporize human bodies and crush internal organs. Western officials first publicly expressed concern that Russian President Vladimir Putin might use thermobaric bombs to seize control of Ukraine on Friday. Here's a quote now. My fear would be that if they don't meet the timescales and objectives, they would be indiscriminate in the use of violence, one Western official said, per iNews. They don't adhere to the same principles of necessity and proportionality and the rule of law that Western forces do. All right, let me show you some of these things. Give you an example of what these bad boys do. And then I'm going to read to you exactly what they do when you're in the vicinity of a thermobaric missile. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is what they look like. And the big frightening thing about this is that they are never supposed to, well, I mean, if you're a decent human, they're never supposed to be used against masses of civilian populations. These are not designed to be used in cities or on cities. These are designed to, entrenched people who have built bunkers, people who are, living in caves. You think about the Afghan war. These were the things that would take out the side of a mountain. These are not supposed to be used on civilians in high population areas. So here you go. This is what it looks like. And these have been seen rolling into the Ukraine. That's not good. Here we go. All right, let's watch this. By the way, it's a multi-weapon system. It's multi-rockets. It can fire dozens of these. I mean, just one, you don't want to be around. But it can fire I don't know, maybe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 30 at a time. Well, here, we'll see a demonstration of just the sheer horror that these things put out. You know what this is going to do to the city of Kharkiv? They use unlike a regular bomb, they use the oxygen that is around during the explosion. They use the oxygen to create temperatures. How's this more? Temperatures that will melt the skin off the human body and just leave a skeleton instantly, vaporizing you. And let's say that you're, I don't know, half a mile away. You're still not safe because the concussive effect of it will basically kill it'll crush your organs. All right, I'm going to read you exactly what the description of these things are. That one can go away. I apologize for that. All right, let me read to you exactly what they, the description of what these things do. By the way, we're still listening to what we're hearing there is the live feed. We'll check back in on that. Let's see. The blast kill mechanism against living targets is unique and extremely unpleasant. What kills is the pressure wave, and more importantly, the subsequent rarefaction vacuum, which ruptures the lungs. If the fuel deflagrates but does not detonate, victims will be severely burned and will probably also inhale the burning fuel. Since the most common FAE fuels, ethylene oxide and propylene oxide, are highly toxic, undetonated FAEs should prove as lethal to personnel caught within the cloud as with most chemical agents. According to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency's study, the effect of an FAE explosion within confined spaces is immense. That's what they're talking about, cities. Those near the ignition point are obliterated. Those at the fringes are likely to suffer many internal, thus invisible injuries, including burst eardrums, crushed inner ears, brain bleeds, destruction of organs, severe concussions, ruptured lungs and internal organs, and possibly blindness. Another Defense Intelligence Agency document speculates that because the shock and pressure wave cause minimal damage to brain tissue, it is possible that victims are not rendered unconscious by the blast, but instead suffer for several seconds or minutes while they suffocate in extreme temperatures. I mean, it's basically like a tiny little nuclear where you're just vaporized, and that's what Putin is now rolling into Ukraine. Something that they had feared that he might use, but they were none seen, and they certainly hadn't been used in the first 4 nights. But again, now we're talking about where's old boy's head at right now? Is he frustrated? Many reports are saying that he's incredibly angry, that he is losing his shit, that he expected this to be over within 2 to 3 days. And here we are in night 4, and they have yet to capture and control any major cities in Ukraine. He thought he was going to roll through. He doesn't even have control of the Donbas region, which was, remember, initially what he wanted. Now, there are certain pockets. We saw a city, a small city. We saw a small city pictures today. The police department had raised a Russian flag. So, okay, they have that. But they don't have Odessa. They don't have Kharkiv. They don't have Luhansk. They don't have Donetsk. They don't have Mariupol. They don't have Kyiv. They don't have Lviv. They don't have any of the major cities that he assumed that he would just start picking off one at a time. So the fear is now that he's like, okay, whatever. What are his options? What would Putin's does anybody believe, based on the last 30 years of Vladimir Putin being a public figure, first as the vice president of Russia and then as whatever the hell he calls himself now, is there anything that he has ever done that makes people believe that he's going to go, it's a lot tougher than I thought. These people, hey, you got to give these Ukrainians credit. All right, guys, whatever. Hey, world stage, big mistake on my part. I'm sorry. Hey, I'll tell you what, let's go to the diplomatic rounds now. Let's talk about this because I'm done, man. You guys are much tougher than I thought. Does anybody think that that's how Vladimir Putin is going to react? Of course not. He's not going to react that way. He's going to go, okay, full might and force. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be proportionate. I didn't want to really just pave all of you people, but here we go, MFers. That's the fear. That's the fear. And the more the world starts to rally behind the people of the Ukraine, the more the world and global narrative becomes, how brave are the people of the Ukraine? How wonderful are they? Look at them standing up to Putin. The more embarrassed he becomes and the more desperate. And that's really the big fear about this. Desperation. What does a desperate and humiliated Vladimir Putin do? Okay. Let's should we look through? Let's see what some of the latest is here, huh? Let's check in. Let's check back in on our live cam. We'll try this one first. I don't have a whole lot of faith in these live cams delivering any kind of information, other than people are still driving around. Other than, hearing the sounds of explosions and gunfire, which we heard last night, we haven't really seen anything in real time on the live cams. I wonder if there's any more live cams that are up. Let's see here. Fast Outdoor Food asks, what is Putin's reputation going to be after all of this? I mean, it's a good question. His reputation, he had the respect of the toughest guy in your high school. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not even, let's on the world stage, he's not the toughest guy. I don't know that he was admired, but people had to respect the fact that he was a dangerous son of a bitch. What if he is humiliated, if he fails in his attempt to take Ukraine, which, if you remember, the narrative ramping up to all of this was, oh, he's going to just crush these people. We can't allow him to just crush these people. He is such a scary, strong guy. And that's not happening. That is not happening yet. I mean, as I just said, he has a lot of other toys in his war chest that he can pull out that he hasn't used yet. We just saw one of them. So what will his reputation be? I mean, if he uses all the toys in the war chest and he just absolutely pounds the people of Ukraine, then I'd have to believe that his reputation as it stands right now is as global pariah. He is moving quickly into the area that we reserve for people like Kim Jong-un and, Saddam Hussein was in that group. No matter what we in the West, no matter what we told ourselves and told others about him, he was never in that category. He was always like a shady dude, but he could show up to global summits and participated in the world economy and all that kind of stuff. If he does what he is capable of doing to the people of the Ukraine, he ain't gonna be able to do that anymore. He ain't. He is going to be designated a war criminal. This is an unprovoked war against a recognized sovereign nation. He just violated just about every rule of how to act as a world leader that he can. And that's why he's going with all of this bullshit. Like, there's a genocide in the Donbass. I'm not just a big thug. So he's made up all of these things that couldn't be justified by any independent sources other than the bullshit that he was throwing out there. So what is his reputation going to be? His reputation right now is pretty bad. He looks like a big thug. The only thing that he could do to save his reputation and to really kind of, I think, continue to participate on the global stage as somebody who is respected, if not admired, respected, would be to say, okay, let's declare peace. That would be it. Because his next move, he's not going to lose. He is not going to lose. His next move is to just, here we go. F with the bull, get the horns, Ukraine. Here we go. Can you imagine if, you know who is absolutely beloved globally, at least by the way we see the world in the Western ideology, in the way that we view things. President Zelensky is a hero. He is a global icon of strength and perseverance and leadership. What if Putin gets his head? What if Putin kills that guy? I mean, what if we see social media footage of the dead, lifeless body of Volodymyr Zelensky laying in a field with a bunch of Russian soldiers standing around? What is that going to do? I mean, honestly, the only play that he has would be to humble himself and declare peace and draw back his troops. But he's not going to do that. That's the problem. So yeah, he's on a path. He's on a path to being an international criminal. He's on a path. He's on a path to a trial in The Hague. This is a war crimes path that he has put himself on, and he has got to go all in. So that's what's most concerning to people. Like at this point, if he does absolutely destroy the Ukraine, if he decides, fine, here we go, let's do this, and he goes all in with the Ukraine, at that point, he's declaring World War III. He is declaring he's not going to stop at the Ukraine. He's just not going to be. He's not going to be a global pariah and just go, look at my new toy, Ukraine. Which, by the way, at that point will just be a smoldering asshole. Asshole. Yeah, that's him. Smolder an ashtray. It'll just be an ashtray. What are you going to do with it? So then he's going to start looking at Poland. He's going to start looking at Romania. He's going to start branching out. I mean, that's his only play. I mean, again, what do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm not a foreign policy expert. But I don't see how a megalomaniac like Putin is going to just back off now and go, whoo, they were tougher than I thought. All right, enough. Uncle, fine. I don't see that happening. And you don't either. Nobody with a brain does. He's all in, baby. Davis says he's probably doing this out of boredom at this point, and let's be real. F shit up mentality makes for good entertainment. Well, I've struggled with that very notion. I've struggled. I'm a news junkie. I love breaking news. I love watching the world from the safety and slightly chilly comfort nest here high above the 1%er compound in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. I struggle with the idea of, am I entertained by this? Because man, is that a dark thing to tap into about yourself? I mean, I'm not entertained. I obviously have a very I've seen, we've all seen this stuff. Some of it I haven't shown because there's no reason. Why would I show that garbage on the stream? There's a lot of really upsetting stuff. I mean, these are people, but as a news junkie, as somebody who sort of gets excited about breaking news, I wish there was a word other than entertained, because entertained sort of suggests that I'm enjoying it. And I guess you could say that I am fascinated, intrigued. So I don't know, Davis. I don't know if I'd say it makes for good entertainment. I can see why you chose those words. I can see why that was there. This is not entertainment. This is scary. And that's another thing that I always say. That speaks to us as Americans living here, blessed to be a part of. Man, we won the geographical lottery. We are lucky. We are so lucky that we are here. We don't have to worry about this. That's why it's so shaking when you see these videos of people in beautiful apartments, high-rise apartments in a culturally significant and historic place like Kyiv. These are people who go to the 7-Eleven. These are people who have McDonald's. These are people who drive cars and have doormen in their building. These are not people living in caves. These are not guys living in grass huts, in rice paddies. These are people like us. This is Europe. This is Europe. Nice places, nice restaurants. They have girlfriends and they have cell phones and they're on Snapchat and Twitter and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, man, could you imagine if we had to put up with that? That's why I say we won that geographic lottery. We are here. We were born in America. And I think we take that for granted. And that's another reason why I struggle with the idea of, is this entertainment? Because I have to remind myself, whoa, boy, what if we were born somewhere else? What if we were born over there? They go to school, they go to work, they go out to bars, they go out to dance clubs, they get drunk, they get into fights, they have girlfriends, they have breakups. They're very much like us. I see these apartments. The apartment here. We'll show you this one. Well, this was one of the big things that happened earlier today. There was an apartment in the northwest of Kyiv that got hit by a missile. Let's show that. Here, let's go back to it. We'll show you where it happened. There it is. Okay, we'll share this now. I mean, this is like a really nice apartment. This is an apartment that I would like to live in. This is not some cave in a mountainside. This is not some grass thatched roof hut next to a rice paddy. Check this out. Okay, we got something going on right here. We'll check that out in a minute. Okay, look at this. This apartment, nope, this one. All right. Where is the apartment that got hit? Okay. Is it that building? Make sure we find the right building. It's this building right here. Okay, so yeah, take a look at it. Is that it? I think that's it. This building right here was hit by a missile last night. There are people in the building. The people, there was footage of a husband who survived it. And there weren't, good Lord, there were no fatalities as of a few hours ago. A bunch of people were hurt really bad, but no fatalities, not instantly in the minute. There was a husband on a phone down there on the street level who was talking to another family member, explaining to them what had happened. His wife and his daughter both had 2 broken legs. A missile just came out of the sky and took out this building right here. Not the building. I shouldn't say that. But it took out a big chunk of this side of the building. Looked like a direct hit. Here, I'm going to show it to you. We actually have video. Of course we do, because it's 2021. We have video of a missile hitting the building. This is incredible. No, that's not it. That's it. Okay. Watch this. Check this out. It's a little grain. Look at that. Look at that. That's the building. Look at that. That's the missile. We'll start it over again. Look at that. Early morning. This was an early Saturday morning, around 7 o'clock. You're still in bed. Boom! It's just a normal apartment building. That's a civilian target. That's a war crime. You can't just shoot missiles at apartment buildings on an early Saturday morning. How incredible is that? And it looks like some kind of security cam that may have captured this from another building. Good Lord. Blink of an eye. You're laying in bed, boom, Saturday morning. You're up now. You are up now. I think there's a couple of other angles on that we got. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, man. Hold on. I just happened to pause it at a really freaky point. Look at that. Look at that. That's the missile right there in the air. Holy cow. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. What's the word for it? It's not entertainment, but it's something. Let me see. I think we've got a couple of other views on that, maybe. Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy. I thought that there was a number of other. There's the building. That's it. That's the building. That's it. That's the building that was hit. This one right here. You can see it's just on the outskirts of Kiev. So it's here's the main city. I don't know what they were shooting at. This is where it happened. All right, let's see what this is. This is Kiev emergency information. Let's see what this is all about. We're not sharing that. Let me share that for you. Okay, Kiev emergency information, help information, Facebook, City of Kiev government, Facebook information, UN refugee agency. All right, I don't know. Typically, when Google Maps gives us one of these things, it means that something is specifically happening in that area. And it doesn't seem to be the case here with this one. It just seems to be a general location for emergency information. Okay, so let's stop sharing that. Charlie says, even the Russian population is against this. Is this part of the deal? Despite Putin's propaganda campaign, there's always someone someplace with a cell phone to record what actually happens. Is Putin going to get his ass whipped with iPhones? Yeah. How about that, right? Yeah. You got to respect the technology, bitch. All right, let me look right now here. Well, I'll put you back up onto the live stream. Maybe I can find you a better live stream. And then we'll get some in the moment news. We'll get the latest stuff that's happening, and we'll try and see some of the video. I don't know that I love this live stream that we've been looking at. Let's see. So this is the one. This is live stream. Okay, we have. I'm looking for. It seems to me that the live streams from Kyiv that we're able to see right now are all multi cameras, and I don't like that. I would like one big one that is showing us an area. Okay, so this is Kyiv, and Lviv. And their sound, that's good. I like a live cam that gives us sound. I just don't know which camera is providing the sound there. Hold on. The Maiden Square webcam that we've been watching seems to be down at the moment. All right, let's put this one up. Let's put make sure it's live. All right, this one doesn't have sound for us, so I don't want to do one without sound. Okay, this is a different one. This has sound. We'll use this one while I pull up some of the latest stuff that's going on here. Okay. Okay, so the top two are Kyiv, and the bottom right is Kyiv, and bottom left is Lviv. Bottom right says St. Michael's Golden Domed Cathedral. So look at how dark the city is. It's almost 4 a.m. So it's 3:49 in the morning. All right, let me pull up, see what we have the latest news. I'll pull up some of the sites and some of the reporters that I like, that I think are pretty reliable. Because there's a lot of BS out there. There's a whole lot of nonsense people are putting out there. It's been a struggle, but I feel like over the past week or so of watching this stuff that I've at least been able to gather together reports from the ground, accounts of people who seem to be pretty reliable. All right, let's see here. BNO News is good. I don't know if any of you guys follow BNO News if you're on Twitter. And by the way, if you're on Twitter, you can follow me at Pugs and Co. C-O. P-U-G-S and Co. We're hearing some fighting now. You can follow me on Twitter. You can hit me in the DMs on Twitter if you have any information, or just to say hi. Yeah, you just want to be friends. That's yeah. Okay, that's some real fire. Where's that coming from? See, we've got 4 cameras, but we do not know which of the camera is providing us with the sound, which is frustrating. Okay, we seem to have lost one of them. Okay, that's wind. I thought that was a big explosion that was about to rumble through, and it turned out I believe that's wind. Okay, latest stories here. Okay, I was just talking up BNO News at BNO News on Twitter, and they're not posting all that much. This is from 10 minutes ago. Yeah, no. Former top officials at Russia's central bank, quoting them now, there's going to be a catastrophe on the Russian currency market on Monday, as a quote from a former top official of the Russian central bank. Okay, that's not giving us any updates on what's happening here in Kyiv. All right, let's go to Next to news service. Nexta is a Eastern European media group. Nexta is reporting that Belarusian citizens have now begun taking to the streets in opposition of the war and their nation's participation in it. Nexta is reporting all gold and foreign exchange reserves of the Central Bank of Russia, contributing to which the fall of the ruble has been restrained in recent days. They are all blocked. I don't know what that means, and that seems to be the problem with Nexta, which is an Eastern European news service, is a lot of times these English translations are a little bit choppy, so I'm not entirely sure what that means. Here's some breaking news from 30 minutes ago. Former President Trump speaking at CPAC. Here's the headline. Donald Trump dramatically changed his opinion. Speaking at CPAC today, Trump said, "We pray for the proud people of Ukraine. God bless them all," he said. Earlier, the former U.S. president had called Putin's decision to launch an invasion of Ukraine brilliant, and that the Russian president himself was a peacemaker. Okay, so somebody got to former President Trump and said, "Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing, man?" It's like 8 out of 10 Americans are like on the side of the Ukrainians. What are you doing, man? So that's good. It's good to see that he backed off the whole Putin thing, because that didn't go over well for him. That did not go over well. So we're hearing what sounds like gunfight, but I don't know where. And I wonder if a lot of the news people who typically in a moment like this would be thought to be updating every minute with new information from the ground are not. So maybe, could there be an issue with, well, no, I don't know. We're watching a stream. I was going to say, could there be an issue with, being able to use social networks? Yeah, there's a lot of, everything seems dark. Everything seems dark. Nobody is posting updates. We're definitely hearing some big fighting going on right now. I'm going to try and find out exactly what this stuff is. Nope. All right, I'm going to jump over to just, one of the generic threads and see if I can find some people who are reporting anything current, anything new. Okay. So right now I'm on the UK and the hashtag Ukraine, hashtag Kyiv threads on Twitter, and I typically don't like to just repeat the things that are posted on here, because I don't know who a lot of these people are. This is where you'll see a whole bunch of propaganda. When I report something, I'm taking it from somebody who at least has demonstrated over the course of the last few days that they have good information and that they're not troublemakers. But here we go. I mean, because nobody seems to be posting at the moment, we're gonna have to trust our gut. We'll read some of these and see what people are saying. But again, I don't know. This is also where you get all the BS video and stuff, like shit that's not real. Okay, I don't know what this is. I'm watching a video of a little girl screaming at a Russian soldier. But again, I don't know if that's real. I don't even know if that's a Russian soldier. I don't know what kind of uniform that could be. Anything. That could be forever, but it's pretty, well, nah. We seem to have some action on the webcam, so let's just leave it there. Yeah, this is an interesting post. Somebody posted that history will not write about the invasion by Russia, but history will recall how Ukraine resisted. I hope so. I hope history doesn't recall the war crime that's going to come in the next couple of days, where thousands upon thousands of innocent Ukrainian citizens were just wiped out. Okay, so here's something. This is breaking, but again, I don't know who this person is. They're not affiliated with any organization that I could trust, and they describe themselves as a patriot, which is always a problem for me. If one of the first things you use to describe yourself is some jingoistic, trying too hard bullshit, dude, we're all patriots. Tone it down, okay? If we live in America, we're all patriots. We all love our country. Doesn't it go without saying, It's more noticeable when somebody isn't a patriot, when you're like, okay, that guy's not a patriot. But most of us, we get up, we go to work, we go to school here, we love our country, we root for our teams in the Olympics, we sing the national anthem, we stand, we put our hand over our heart, we take our hats off. You don't have to tell me the first thing on your Twitter byline doesn't have to be patriot, and you don't have to put an American flag behind you. You're trying too hard. We get it. That is something that bothers me. That's bothered me for a long time. The way that people just pimp out the American flag. The American flag isn't supposed to be like water or oxygen. It's not supposed to be everywhere. It's supposed to be special. It's a symbol of American exceptionalism. Treat it with high regard. My kid, from the time I have a 12-year-old son, from the time my kid was young, I always told him, because I have him for 4th of July, divorced, so I always had him. 4th of July is like our holiday. So I always have him for 4th of July, and a couple of years ago when he was little, he put on a shirt that he was going to wear for 4th of July, and it was just a big American flag shirt. And I said, no, you take that shirt off. He's like, why? It's 4th of July. I go, I know. He's like, everybody wears this. I go, I know they do. I go, and everybody spills beer on it, and everybody drips hot dog mustard on it, and everybody sweats on it, and everybody gets their BO all over the shirt. That's the American flag. That's a symbol of American exceptionalism. That's something that we hold in high regard. It's not something that we wear on the 4th of July and sweat into. And so my kid is that's kind of stuck into him, that, when you pass the American flag, you bow your head, you do all those things. You don't put it on your Facebook behind you like, see? You're trying too hard. So last year we were out at Lake Louisville. We were on the jet skis, and we came past this girl that was in a American flag bikini. My kid said something to her. I'm like, dude, don't say that to a hot chick. Come on, let her do it. That's fine. But Dad, you said. I go, I know, but there are exceptions. She looked great. Let her wear it. Man, I am sorry to report that there is just not a whole lot of great info coming out right now. Although this stream that we're watching here is getting a lot of play. A lot of people are saying you need to put it on because it's showing a whole bunch of, or at least you're hearing the gunfight, or at least we're hearing that there is something happening. And in the absence of people actually reporting, in the absence of people reporting in the moment what's happening, this is pretty much all we have to go on. Yeah, boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, this seems, this is odd. This is very odd that we're not seeing what we're hearing. We know that there are fires burning. We are hearing gunfire. And every other night that we've been covering this, in moments like this, there has been a whole lot of information pouring in, but there is almost nothing. I should say there's almost nothing from accredited journalists. Okay, we're hearing the breathing patterns of the person who's putting this feed up. Put the sound back on, bro. That's why everybody's tuning in. You're providing the only actual news in the moment that's happening, that's available. Okay, so here you go. This is a big piece of news put out by Elint News. Elint is, they've got like almost 250, 250,000 followers. I'm not entirely sure of how credible they are, but I have been reporting some of the things that Elint News has been putting out. Their description is independent, in-depth coverage and analysis of current geopolitical and geostrategic developments, not an official organization. And it's followed by a number of important people. So that's, when you're trying to figure out if somebody is legit or not because they're passing out information, it's always good to just click on who else follows them. And then if you see a whole bunch of people who are like, okay, that dude's legit, that dude legit, if they're following them as well, then you can feel a little bit more comfortable in reporting what they say. So having said all of that, here is a piece of news breaking from Elint just in the last 2 minutes. Breaking. Ukrainian nuclear agency says Radon's radioactive waste site near Kyiv has been hit by a Russian airstrike. However, measurements were taken at the site, and there is currently no evidence of a radiation leak. This story is developing now. Okay, so that's big. Now, typically with something like that, I'll just click on the comments and I'll look to see if there is anybody who seems to have any credibility in the comments, even either confirming that or, saying that's bullshit. What do they keep saying it? Okay, Radon. So let's maybe we should. Radon says Radon's radioactive waste site near Kyiv. All right, let's see if we can see that, right? Let's get out of this. Actually, we'll leave this up for a minute. Radon. Let's see where Radon is. And then we'll take a poke around there, see if we can see this. Radon, Ukraine? I don't see an option for Radon. I see Radon, Ukraine. Radon, Kiev? Kiev? All right, I'm having some difficulty finding if this place is real. I mean, I'm sure it is. Okay, so Radon, check out, let's see, Radon nuclear, wait, well, how's it being described as Radon nuclear waste facility? Outskirts of Kiev. Okay, I am seeing other stories here. I'm seeing Russian shell hits a radioactive waste disposal site in Kyiv. Russian shells hit a radio. Let's see if we can find this cable waste of the Kyiv branch of the state specialized radon. State specialized enterprise radon. Okay, so radon is the company. It's not the town where the site is. Let's see if I can find out any more. Let's see if we can see where this is. Russian shell hits radioactive waste disposal site in Kyiv. Russian troops began to attack Ukrainian strategic objects from the air throughout the night. Okay, during the night, shelling of Kyiv with all types of anti-aircraft and missile weapons available to the Russian Federation, the Russian military, about 120, I don't know what this means, 01.20, 120 in the morning, Kyiv time, came to the place of disposal of radioactive waste of the Kyiv branch of the state specialized enterprise Radon. It doesn't give us any information on where in Kyiv that could be. As a result of the ongoing mass shelling, it is not yet possible to assess the extent of the destruction. The automated radiation monitoring system failed, but the security cameras recording falling missiles. Okay, now this report is not saying that radiation levels are all right, as the initial story did. This story is saying that there's no way to tell if the radiation levels are all right. Huh. All right. So how might we find where this place is located in Kyiv? Let's just see if we can. Kyiv branch of the state specialized enterprise Radon. Let's see if that. Let's Google search that and see if. I mean, is there a yellow pages? Is there? Could it be something that easy? But I'd like to see where this is. Centralized radioactive waste management enterprise inventory. Ukraine National Report on Compliance with State Specialized Enterprises. Radioactive waste, Radon, Kyiv. Okay, so what I've got are a whole bunch of official documents about radioactive compliance. On compliance with obligation under the Joint Convention on Safety of Spent Fuel Management and on the Safety of Radioactive Waste. Kyiv, 2017. Ukraine signed the Joint Convention. Okay, this is not going to tell me where it is it? I mean, this isn't a website. This is like some report that somebody put together, and it looks to be about 300 pages, 152 pages. I don't know that I'm going to be able to. Where is it? Tell me where it is. Where? All I want is an address. Remediation of burial of radioactive waste site in Ukraine. Okay, I do not want to be downloading these things, but apparently I just did. How do we get rid of that? How do we get rid of that? I don't want that. Okay. I wonder if I were to hit maps, if that would show me anything. No, you know what? This is fruitless. There's no way to really tell where this report. Oh, wait a second. What is this? I mean, what does a radioactive waste management site look like from a global from a satellite picture on Google Maps? Okay. Huh. All right, again, I'm trying to find information about a report that just came out that a radioactive or a nuclear waste facility in Kiev or outside Kyiv has been struck by Russian missiles and is burning. However, the first report that we pulled it from says that radiation levels in the area check out as just fine at the moment. However, the second report of it said that there is no way to be able to monitor because the things that would monitor the radiation level in the area were taken out. So, Radon, let's try this one more time. Radon Corp Kyiv. This might take us to Radon Environmental. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to try this. I don't have much faith in this. This is probably just a corporate address. I mean, I can't imagine their corporate offices would be located where they bury their waste, right? This is probably, let's see here. Yeah, no, that's just an office building. Okay. That's not going to be what we're looking for here. Although it keeps taking me to this same area in the Kyiv Oblast of Ukraine, which is in the southwest. And, I got to be honest, I don't know really what I'm looking at, but if I was to bury some nuclear waste, this might be the area. It's just far enough outside the city. Doesn't seem like it's particularly... Whoa, what's that? What do we got? Can we see any kind of flares or lights or anything like that popping up on any of these pictures? I do not know. Yeah, Sally says CNN has been on all day at my house, now showing nothing but reruns of earlier day stories. Yeah, I've noticed that too. They're not the only one. Sky News is doing the same thing. I've got CNN on a little monitor here. And I honestly cannot find any new breaking news. It is now 4:16 in the morning in Ukraine. And this has been the time that most of the stuff had begun to happen over the last few nights. This was around the time that I was planning on coming on, but I came on a few hours earlier because there was that major explosion that occurred in Kyiv. I mean, might that be this waste facility that was hit, that was causing that weird, eerie pulsing? I don't know. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is another big one. Now we've got BNO. Remember, now everybody is coming in. Elint News broke it first. And remember, I was a little bit sketchy about it. I was like, I don't really know about these people, but they do have some people who follow them who seem right. All right, BNO News, who is very trustworthy. Breaking, Ukraine's nuclear agency says radio waste disposal site near Kiev hit by an airstrike. No evidence of a leak at this time. As of February 27th, 2022, Kiev... it's just a car. Kiev time. As a result of the mass bombing of Kyiv with all types of anti-aircraft and missile weapons available to the Russian Federation, the missiles hit the radioactive waste disposal site of the Kyiv branch of the state specialized enterprise Radon. Notification was announced by telephone by Radon personnel who are in the shelter as a result of the mass shelling, which is still ongoing. It is currently not possible to assess the extent of the destruction. The automated radiation monitoring system failed, but the surveillance cameras recorded the falling missiles. Assessments of the radiation situation will be carried out by portable devices after the shooting terminates. So they don't know. The first report that we got about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, said that everything's fine, don't worry. And then the second report was, well, what do you mean don't worry? We don't know whether we should worry about it. Now this one sort of confirms the second. More information here. Radioactive waste disposal site hit near Kyiv by airstrikes. All right, let me pull this up. This is actually a published story that was just published 3 minutes ago. So let's see. Radioactive waste disposal site near the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv has been hit by a Russian airstrike, according to Ukrainian's nuclear agency. Preliminary measurements in the capital have found no evidence of leak. Okay, so the no evidence of radiation is coming from devices that are still working near the capital city of Kyiv, but this is not this place isn't located. It's located outside of Kyiv. So what we're seeing is that nuclear radiation levels in Kyiv at the moment seem fine. However, radiation levels at the site of the incident there's a question mark. They don't know. The site was hit by missiles. Notification of the strike was announced by telephone by radon personnel who are still currently in the shelter. It is currently not possible to assess the extent of the destruction. The agency said that the automated radiation monitoring systems had failed. Okay, so we've been over this. We know this. I'd still like to know where that is. I don't know where that is. There's no information being presented regarding where this could be. But, okay, so that's a big piece of news. That's frightening for sure. But that's the first piece of significant information concerning what's happening in Ukraine, in Kiev specifically, that we have seen in the better part of an hour. Yeah, look at this now. Now everybody's reporting that. Now that story is becoming big. CNN still ain't on it. Still think mainstream media is going to give you news first? No. Let's see here. Who else might we check in on? Let me check on some of the reporters who are on the ground there. Breaking anonymous hackers. This is, we'd been following the story about anonymous hackers. They apparently took down the Kremlin's sites today. They made it impossible for people who, Putin wants to check his emails. It was difficult for him. They also attacked earlier today Russian media, from putting out all the propaganda that they have been about, Nazis and, the genocide that's occurring. So they knocked all of that stuff off the air, and they started showing video of dead Russian soldiers in Ukraine, Russian soldiers being taken as prisoner of war, and they were playing the Ukrainian national anthem behind it. Now, anonymous hackers have put the Ukrainian national anthem over all embed communications being used by Russian occupiers on the ground. So here, I can play this for you. There's no reason to show it to you because it's just a picture. But if you are a Russian, if you're a Russian and you're got a gun and you're a soldier and you're on the ground in Ukraine, I mean, I don't know how this works. Is this cell phone? How did they I don't know. I don't know enough about the tech. But if you were trying to communicate with your battalion and you clicked the radio, this is what you were hearing. I mean, I guess that's the Ukrainian national anthem. It says it is. So, yeah. You know what? I honestly don't know. If you'd asked me like 2 weeks ago, hey, Pogs, what do you think of Anonymous? I'd have been like, I don't know. I mean, kind of scary, right? I don't need them going through my stuff. Anonymous is doing some pretty good stuff. They seem to be acting as a purposeful irritant to the bad guys in this situation. All right, let's jump in here. Let me see what's my guy Moshe Schwartz saying. Moshe's a good guy. Let's see what Moshe's doing. Moshe's a good reporter. He reports for he's an Israeli foreign affairs correspondent who's based over there. A video reportedly shows a missile impact on the streets of Kyiv. That's from earlier. Uh, okay, so here's some breaking. World on Alert, which is a news organization in that part of the world. A Ukrainian Su-24 has bombed a Russian military convoy of 20 vehicles tonight. It's interesting. We have already seen a few wiped out Russian convoys who look like they were destroyed by airstrikes. And then Israeli journalist, foreign affairs journalist based in Tel Aviv, not out of Tel Aviv, who's based in Kyiv, Moshe Schwartz says, we're almost up to the fourth day of this full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and Russia still doesn't have control of the air, per reports. I mean, that's an interesting one because, it's not even speculation. I mean, it's just a known. It's a fact that the Russian Air Force is 50 times bigger than the Ukrainian Air Force. Okay, but even here, I'm not getting a whole lot of up-to-the-minute news and reports on any of this stuff. Here's what we can take by this. And last night was supposed to be the night that Kyiv fell. Last night was supposed to be the night that the Russian army was on the outskirts of the town. They had patty caked their way through the Ukrainian countryside, just reaping through cities. Now, every time they reaped through a city, that city would rise up as soon as they left and be like, okay, you all right? All right, let's good. And then that city would mobilize and chase them down the road and, start wreaking havoc on their flank, which caused their progress to be impeded. Not as easy, right? They're not just marching down the road and knocking out towns and moving on to the next one. Every time they think they knock out a town, they turn around and they see the people from that town are now behind them, or the people. I use that, I'm not probably using the defense forces of that town, dust themselves off and then they come at them. I mean, they are the Ukrainian military. They are fighting for their dear lives. They are not laying down. And again, last night was supposed to be the night that Kyiv fell. Tonight was supposed to be the night. Okay, all right. So last night was give us a mulligan on last night. Tonight's the night. We're not dicking around anymore. Tonight's the night. And they are not yet. And I know that we've just crossed that 4 a.m. marker, which is the time that they have traditionally ramped up their attacks. But boy, what was expected for tonight has not materialized yet. And more and more people, as I'm scrolling through this thing, are saying that, goddamn, these Ukrainians are, everybody's crying, get NATO in there, get NATO in there. And I'm sure they'd love that. But, yesterday I used the example that, this is the dance club. The dance club just closed. It's 4 a.m. And now there's a fight breaking out in the parking lot. And there's that big circle, right? The big circle and you got Ukraine and Russia and they're circling each other and they're about to throw fists. And you got NATO, who's Ukraine's buddy, and he's standing there and he's holding everybody back and everybody's going, break up the fight. He's going to get his ass kicked. And NATO is like, hold on. I think he's got this. So far, Ukraine got this. I mean, good Lord, knock on wood, right? I mean, all hell. I mean, it could get bad, but man, I mean, they are doing themselves proud as a people. Now, once again, we're almost up to the fourth day of this full-scale invasion of the Ukraine by a massively well-equipped Russian force, and they still do not have control of the air or any major city. This can only be contributed. What is that? Is that a translation? this can, okay, I'm just going to change. This can only be attributed to the world's underestimating the Ukrainian military. I'll tell you, man, that's why I keep saying wars are never good, and you never want to play a home game in a war, but, you know, away games are tough too. If you're gonna invade, if you're gonna play an away game in a war, you better be sure. I know. Let's see what my boy Max is saying. Max is the bureau chief for the Financial Times in Moscow. He says, no, he hasn't posted anything in, well over an hour. So, So I have to wonder if maybe this is just the quiet before the storm. Hope not. Nothing. Yeah, here's another source that I like that I use. She hasn't posted in well over an hour. I mean, we're hearing gunfire on the feed here. We're just not getting any information. Let me check out this guy. Let me see what my man here has to say. Nothing. We're getting nothing. Okay. I've exhausted just about all of my Again, I say I wish I knew which one of these 4 cameras was the one providing the sound. And also I wish I could find a live stream that just had the one shot. That's wind. That's wind. I'm also not seeing anything more about the strike on the nuclear waste facility outside of Kiev. I'm still looking for anything that will give us a hint as to where in the Kiev metro area that happened, so that we could at least pull it up and maybe look at it. I have to assume that what are those lights? Are we seeing lights in the top right? Are we seeing some sort of fire? Some indication of fire? Is that what we're looking at? Let's see if I can make this bigger. Looks like it's snowing. It looks like it's snowing there. Those look like snowflakes falling in front of the camera. I'm looking at the top right. Victory Avenue. Okay, that's not even Kiev. That's a different city. So, yeah, it looks like the views of Kiev in these cameras that we have are top left and bottom right. I'd been thinking that the top right was Kiev as well, but it's not. I'm seeing reports here that Kharkiv in the north, that's the one that's just over the border from Russia, is still experiencing heavy and consistent shelling for the last 5 hours. Hasn't let up. Seems like they are. Now, this is where I would be concerned about those thermobaric weapons we were talking about earlier, because that's where they were coming from. They were coming from that side, that area of the Russian border. That's where Frederick Pleiken of CNN reported that he had seen them moving into the Ukraine, and they were moving into the road. That was the road that's right there. That's right down the road from Kharkiv. So if they were going to use them, and now we have the city of Kharkiv that has been absolutely lit up for... Well, here, I'll show you. I'll show you this. This is what's happening in Kharkiv. Okay. Let's get out of that. So yeah, so the concern about the thermobaric weapons and their proximity to the city of Kharkiv, and now we see this, and we're seeing reports now that okay, so this is Kharkiv, and this has been happening over there for about 5 hours now. And this is the area where those thermobaric weapons were seen crossing the border into the Ukraine. You know, if when the dust settles, oh God, that's a terrible way to put it. But when the sun comes up, if we find out that the entire city of Kharkiv is just a burnt out fire pit with incredible casualties, and that these thermobaric weapons were used against a civilian population in an urban city, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, look at this. Look at that. I mean, the consistency and the rapidity of the explosions. I mean, doesn't that seem like the video we watched earlier, if you were with us, of what these thermobaric bombs actually can do? Thermobaric missiles, I guess. They're not. It's the weapon system. It's the Soviet. Why not? I hated the Soviets so much. It's the TOS-1A. The Russian Army's TOS-1A. I mean, we don't know where that is happening. Well, we know it's Kharkiv. But we don't know, like, are these going off in the city center? Where is the person that's filming this? Where are they? Are they in the city and that's in the outskirts of the city? Is that some sort of strategic location that's being taken out? But good Lord. The concerning thing is that this is the area where Frederick Plankin of CNN reported that those weapon systems, those thermobaric Russian demon flamethrowers, the TOS-1A, 24 barrels, 24. They can fire 24 at the same time. If you weren't with us, the great concern of it was that these are weapons that hadn't been introduced. They've never been used on civilian populations. They're used as, like, bunker busters. They're used out in the fields in Afghanistan. They're used against mountains and stuff like that. Russia hadn't used them. They hadn't been seen in this particular theater of aggression until today. They were seen coming across the border, just across from Kharkiv, and now for the last 5 hours, Kharkiv has been experiencing this. If you weren't with us earlier, we showed a video of what those things look like and what they do. And now I'll share with you once again the description of what they do to a person, which is why they're typically not used against civilians or in urban settings. The TOS-1A, a 24-barrel thermobaric multi-rocket launcher. The blast kill mechanism against living targets is unique and unpleasant. What kills is the pressure wave, and more importantly, the subsequent rarefaction vacuum, which ruptures the lungs. If the fuel deflagrates but does not detonate, victims will be severely burned and will probably also inhale burning fuel. Since the most common fuel, ethylene oxide and propylene oxide, are highly toxic, undetonated FAE should prove as lethal to personnel caught within the cloud as with most chemical agents. According to the United States Central Intelligence Agency, the effect of an FAE explosion within a confined space is immense. Those near the ignition point are obliterated. Those at the fringe are likely to suffer many internal, thus invisible injuries, including burst eardrums and crushed inner ear, crushed organs, severe concussions, ruptured lungs and internal organs, and possibly blindness. Another Defense Intelligence Agency document speculates that because the shock and pressure waves cause minimal damage to the brain tissue, it is possible that victims are not rendered unconscious by the blast, but instead suffer for several seconds or minutes while they suffocate and burn alive. Vacuum bomb. That's why they're so different. A regular bomb just explodes out, just boom, and they explode out. These things, they use the air around the detonation point to create temperatures of the blast that, as was described in another piece article that I was reading, basically melt. If you're standing there and you were near the blast, it would just melt everything off of you. You would be like one of those cartoon depictions where somebody with their whole body, there's just a skeleton standing there because their skin just melted instantly. That's what I'm not saying that that's what these are. I'm saying that that's what the fear is, because this is Kharkiv. This has been happening in Kharkiv all night, and this is the area where it was reported that these Russian TOS-1 weapons were seen crossing the border. Stop sharing that. That's unbelievable. All right, where the hell is that? Where did it go? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There it is. Okay. Yeah, isn't that just a little bomb of sunshine? All right, so I'm gonna take one more quick pass, and then I think I'm gonna shutter this up for the evening. Not the evening. I'll be back. It's only 8:41. But right now, there's not a whole lot to report. There's not a whole lot of information being allotted publicly, unlike in other nights. But it is early. It is early in the night, and it's Saturday night. It's 8:42. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to have some dinner. I'm going to take the dog for a walk, and then be standing by the station. Follow, like, subscribe, do whatever. Chances are really good that I'll pop back on here probably about 10 o'clock or maybe after 10 o'clock. Or hey, if I sign off and I start to make my little dinner and all of a sudden something happens, I'll jump right back on. That's the beauty of being able to stream whenever the hell you want. So I appreciate you being with me. Keep it close, because I do think it's going to be a long night. I do think that this stuff is going to be happening for I don't know. I hope. I mean, I hope not. That's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say I hope. I meant to say at the very least, at some point later tonight, I'll jump in and at least give a recap on everything that we know. But we are certainly in what can best be described as a lull. I'm going to try and find out as much information about the bombing of the nuclear waste facility outside of Kyiv. I'll try and figure out where that is. I'll try and find more information. Yeah, I mean, that's all. That's all I can really. That's all I can really do. Nobody is putting out any information right now. There is no. Let me take one more pass. Look, I'm always hopeful. Let me take one more pass. Let's see. See if there's anything. Yeah, all of the big reporters are just kind of talking about the EU and United States decision to remove the Russian banks from the SWIFT system today. Kelly O'Donnell, senior officials say by removing Russian banks from the SWIFT system that connects financial institutions worldwide, affected banks would need to place calls or send faxes for each transaction to another bank, effectively knocking them out of the modern financial world. Okay, so this is a few hours old at this point, but I didn't see it. It says just in, the Biden administration just announced a transatlantic task force to hunt down and freeze the assets of Russian companies and oligarchs, including yachts, mansions, and other ill-gotten gains that they can find and freeze. Ukrainian President Zelensky, a political newcomer, is leading his country through a devastating conflict. Former U.S. Ambassador to the Ukraine, William Taylor, says he is impressed and adds, but even more important than what I think, the Ukrainian people are impressed. Okay. See, again, we're not really getting any news. There was another piece of fairly significant news today that came out of. We were talking about the sporting world, how the sporting world has sort of gotten involved and has began to ban Russian Federation competitors from world sporting events. The World Tennis Organization says that they're going to ban Russian players. A couple nations have said outright that they're in the coming World Cup that their teams will not participate in matches against Russian Federation teams. The organization is looking at what would that be, FIFA? I don't know. They're considering just banning Russia from World Cup events. There has been a race. The Sochi Grand Prix has been canceled. But then where's the other one? There was another big one. Yeah, this was it. Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich has given up control of Chelsea FC of the Premier League. So this is when people were talking about, and we've been discussing for the last couple of years about how these sanctions, they're going to start to F with the oligarchs, the billionaires of Russia, the people who their individual power, when combined, is what is essentially given Vladimir Putin all of the power that he has. Now, independently over the years, Vladimir Putin has a lot of independent power. He's not truly beholden to any one oligarch anymore. As a matter of fact, over the last 20 years, a lot of the guys that he would have been beholden to for power, puppet masters, if you will, they've basically gotten out of the country because he's grown his individual power base to the point where there really is no one single individual in Russia, no matter how much money they have, who can knock him down a couple pegs. However, the cumulative power of the oligarchs, if they all got together and on the same page, they could absolutely take him out. And that's the reasoning behind the sanctions. That's the reasoning why now we're going to freeze up all of his buddies' bank accounts. Now we're going to freeze up all of this. Well, one example of what a pain in the ass messing with his friends, one example came to be today, and that is the owner of Chelsea FC, which is, we're here in America. We don't really pay attention to the Premier League. That's a very big sporting organization. That would be like if that would be they're essentially an NFL team. Think about a guy who owns an NFL team. Think about Jerry Jones here in Texas with the Dallas Cowboys. Imagine if some international incident led to Jerry Jones being forced to giving up controlling interest of the Dallas Cowboys because some global entity had issued sanctions to an extent that he was no longer able to operate the team in the way that he wanted. So we saw that today. Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich gives up control of Chelsea FC. That's a really big, that is what we were looking for. We're looking for examples of Putin's friends getting effed with and being forced to do things that they otherwise would never do, but are being forced to do it because, they're facing sanctions. They don't have access to their money. They don't have this. They don't have that. They don't have the other thing. These are the things individually that are going to start happening to these guys that one would hope would draw them all together to go, we got to get rid of this guy. I mean, it was fine when he was just messing with us individually, but now we're all getting screwed. Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich has announced that he has handed stewardship of the club to trustees of its charitable foundation. The Russian billionaire will no longer be involved in club matters on a day-to-day basis, and long-term strategic decision-making powers will instead be handed over to the Chelsea Foundation. The move comes in light of Russia's widely condemned invasion of Ukraine ordered by President Vladimir Putin, with whom the 55-year-old Mr. Abramovich has had close ties with in the past. His announcement came the day before Chelsea plays Liverpool in the League Cup final at Wembley Stadium Sunday. In a statement, the Russian billionaire said, "During my 20-year ownership of Chelsea FC, I have always viewed my role as a custodian of the club, whose job it is ensuring that we are as successful as we can be today, as well as build for the future while also playing a positive role in our community. I have always taken decisions with the club's best interest at heart, and I remain committed to these values. That is why I am today giving trustees of Chelsea Charitable Foundation the stewardship and care of Chelsea FC. I believe that currently they are in the best position to look after the interests of the club, players, staff, and fans. The Chelsea supporters trust. I mean, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar organization. This is like an NFL football team. It's bigger. The Premier League is every bit as big, and in some cases bigger than NFL teams. This is like an NFL owner, and we know how in the States, we know how powerful these guys are. We know how arrogant these guys are. We know how much they love their football teams. I mean, this guy is not happy about this, and yet he's been forced to do this. So obviously he's going to be a little bit pissed at Vlad for creating a situation that he no longer gets to play with his best toy, his football team, his professional Premier League team. The CST board, the Chelsea Supporters Trust, is deeply saddened and shocked by the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the subsequent loss of life, the trust said in a statement in response to Abramovich's note. The CST board, that's the Chelsea Trust, the CST board are ready to work with the trustees of the Chelsea Foundation in order to ensure the long-term interest of the club and its supporters. We stand with the people of Ukraine. Mr. Abramovich, who has a net worth of more than $10 billion, according to the Forbes list, has been the owner of Chelsea since 2003 and overseen a period of unprecedented success for the West London club. Since the takeover, a period of incredible transfer spending. Okay, we don't need to know this, but man, see, that happened today. I forgot. I wanted to mention that. That's a very. I mean, we think, so what? He gave up his football team. No, that is an example of why they did these sanctions. They wanted to see shit like that. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so uncomfortable for Vlad at cocktail parties. You know, he doesn't, I can't talk to that guy. I made him give up his football team. He's going to be pissed, you know? So there you go. That was a big story that I wanted to mention that we didn't get to today. Is this live? That is not live. That is previously recorded. Oh, man. Oh, boy. The dog is up. The dog is up and standing by the door. That means the dog wants to go outside. So I'm going to end this. It is just about 9 o'clock. I will be back maybe in an hour, maybe in an hour and a half, whatever it is. You can check out the stream. You just be looking for it. Just be looking for it. I'll pop back in and we'll, even if there's nothing to report, I'll come back on and at least we'll do like a wrap up of everything. So, okay. I appreciate you. Thank you for being there. Support the show with a tip or any way that you can. If you feel so inclined, that would be great. You guys are the best. We'll get back together here in a little bit tonight. I'm going to go eat and I'm going to go walk the dog. We'll see you in a bit. Bye.